Black boy fixes Lamborghini, then CEO sees the watch on his wrist and his past crashes down. The scorching afternoon sun painted the narrow countryside road in golden heat waves. 13-year-old Jaden Carter strolled along the roadside, his dusty sneakers kicking small pebbles as he returned home from coaching class. Slung over his shoulder was a tattered backpack, its zipper barely holding together. Inside was something more precious than books, a compact repair kit gifted by his grandfather, once a respected mechanic. Jaden halted as his eyes widened. A matte black Lamborghini Aventador, sleek and furious-looking, stood still on the shoulder with steam billowing from under its hood like a dragon's breath. A white man in a sharp Italian suit paced angrily, barking into his phone. "I don't care how much the tow costs. I have a Senate dinner in less than 2 hours. Just get here. I swear, this state's infrastructure is garbage." Jaden hesitated. His mama always said to keep walking, especially when it came to rich strangers. But something about the man's frustration and the helpless hiss of the car made him pause. He tightened the strap on his backpack and approached slowly. "Sir, need help?" he asked. Brandon Rourke, CEO of Rourke Global Tech, turned with a scowl that melted into a confused smirk. He saw a scrawny black kid in a faded NASA hoodie, mismatched shoes, and grease on his fingertips. His gaze shifted and froze. On Jaden's wrist was an old vintage wristwatch, worn and scratched, but still ticking. Its gears and dials were visible through a cracked glass face, and on the underside, a lion emblem was carved. "Kid, this is a $500,000 car, not a lawnmower. I need a real mechanic." Jaden didn't flinch. "My grandpa was a Navy engineer. He taught me to read engines before I read Harry Potter." Before Brandon could respond, Jaden popped the hood. Within seconds, he located the overheating issue, a disconnected coolant line and faulty sensor. He worked efficiently, using clamps and sealant from his repair kit. "You'll need a full fix later, but this should get you to town," Jaden said, wiping sweat from his brow. As Brandon leaned in to inspect, his eyes again locked on the wristwatch. The CEO froze. It wasn't just any watch. That lion emblem belonged to a limited edition collection he had designed for a secret project, Project Arcturus, shut down 12 years ago after serious allegations of human experimentation. "Where did you get that watch?" he asked, voice low. Jaden blinked. "It belonged to my mum. Well, the woman who raised me. She passed last year. Said it used to belong to someone who made promises he didn't keep." Brandon stepped back as if struck. He had given that exact watch, one of only 5, to a young black scientist named Dr. Naomi Carter, who vanished right before testifying against Rourke Tech's classified experiments. "What's your full name?" "Jaden Carter." Brandon felt the blood drain from his face. He remembered Naomi's warning. "If anything happens to me, this watch will lead someone back to the truth." Later, as Brandon drove Jaden home to a quiet 2-bedroom house tucked behind a church, he couldn't shake the feeling. Something had been set in motion, a buried past clawing its way back. That night, he tore apart his safe, digging through files and photos. One document stood out, a report marked Arcturus. Phase 2. Children. Top candidates. One name was underlined in red. Jaden Carter. Anomaly. Extreme mechanical intuition. Mother, Naomi Carter. Status, lost. What followed was a cascade of revelations. Brandon hired a private investigator. Naomi's death wasn't an accident. Her brakes had been cut. Jaden had no official adoption records. Project Arcturus had targeted children with rare talents, and Jaden had the rarest, the ability to understand machines just by looking at them. Meanwhile, Jaden discovered the wristwatch wasn't just a timepiece. Hidden in its backplate was a microdrive containing encrypted files from Naomi, files detailing the real experiments Rourke Tech had covered up, and a kill list of whistleblowers. Brandon faced a choice: protect his legacy or do the right thing. In a high-stakes press conference, Brandon shocked the world. Alongside Jaden, he exposed Project Arcturus, Naomi's murder, and the corporation's dark secrets. Rourke Global crumbled, but from the ashes, something new began. Brandon donated his fortune to launch the Naomi Carter Center for Youth Innovators, and Jaden, known across the country as the boy who broke the system, became its first director at age 18. Jaden stood on a stage, speaking to a crowd of young inventors. I didn't grow up rich. I didn't even grow up safe. But I grew up curious, and that saved me. A broken car changed my life. A broken watch changed the world. Now we build systems where no genius goes unnoticed and no child is ever expendable. A new sign shimmered above the center's gates. Every mind matters. Every child counts. And far away, in a maximum security prison, an aging billionaire stared at an old newspaper clipping. Boy, genius dismantles empire with one broken watch. If this story of courage and truth touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe. Even a small act, like fixing a car or telling the truth, can change the world.